Happy Saturday and happy weekend to you all. I hope you had a good Friday. So this is the a decade build in my decade build series. We're in the early 1990s and it's been a journey. It really has. I can't believe that we are coming up on, I don't know, like, let's see, maybe 4 or 5 left or so, something like that. But I'm basically going to go until present day. I'm still going to be doing 2 builds a decade. So today, early 1990s, this was very nostalgic, I have to admit. I was like, oh, I remember, my mom having this. I remember my friends living in a house like this. So I was like going down memory lane a little bit while building this house. But as I normally like to do, I like to show you some reference pictures that I used to build this house and to decorate it. So on the left, you can see canopy beds were all the rage, as well as huge vanities and like sets. And on the top left, you can see Will Smith as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I took a little bit of inspiration from their house as well. Plants everywhere, like on top of the cabinets, in the backyard, potted plants in the front, just everywhere. And my mom actually had, she had like fake ivy on top of the cabinets, and every so often we'd have to actually dust the plants because they would just be absolutely ridiculously dusty. So there's that. If you don't know really all that much that was going on in the 90s, a lot did carry over from the 80s, though, especially in teen and young adult culture, who were louder, brighter, and grungier. And culturally, the 90s are characterized by the rise of multiculturalism and alternative media, which continued into the early 2000s. Movements such as grunge, the rave scene, and hip-hop spread around the world, aided by the then new technology such as cable TV and the internet. The decade is seen as a time of prosperity in the US, especially largely due to the unexpected boom of the internet and the explosion of technology industries that came along with that. The US economy experienced its longest period of peacetime economic expansion during the decades beginning in the 1991 year. Personal incomes also doubled from the recession in 1990, and there was a higher productivity overall, really. Between 1990 and 1997, individual personal computer ownership in the US rose from something like 15 to 35%. Cell phones of the early 1990s and earlier ones were really big, kind of like a brick almost, and they lacked extra features and were only used by a few people. Only a few million people used online services in 1990, and the internet had only just been invented at this time. The first web browser went online in 1993, and by 2001, more than 50% of some Western countries had internet access, and more than 25% had cell phone access. The slacker and the valley girl cultures were also pretty prevalent during this time, and the decade was heavily influenced by California culture. There was some conflict in the 90s, the Gulf War, which was from August 1990 to February 1991. It was codenamed Operation Desert Shield, and for operations leading to the buildup of troops and defense of Saudi Arabia, and Operation Desert Storm, which was from January 1991 to February 1991. In its combat phase was a war waged by coalition forces from 35 nations led by the United States against Iraq in response to Iraq's invasion and annexation of Kuwait. The war was marked by the introduction of live news broadcasts from the front lines of the battles, principally by the US network CNN. The 90s were a decade that saw marketing become more segmented as MTV gradually shifted away from music videos beginning in the early 1990s, specifically 92, and radio splintered into narrower formats aimed at different niches. However, they are perhaps best known for grunge, rap, R&B, teen pop, electronic dance music, the renewed popularity of punk rock, and for being the decade that alternative rock became mainstream. U2 was one of the most popular 90s bands. Pop punk also became popular with artists like Green Day, Blink-182, Weezer, Social Distortion, and The Offspring, just to name a few. And TV shows, mostly sitcoms, were popular, like Growing Pains, Saved by the Bell, Family Matters, Friends, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Full House, and Home Improvement. The video games. The video games of my childhood. There was Super Mario, GoldenEye 007, Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Gran Turismo, Mario Kart 64, Spyro the Dragon, Commander Keen. Oh my gosh, Commander Keen. I actually had Keen 4 on a floppy disk. Also played StarCraft and Warcraft during this time. The 90s were all about retreating from the fast-paced, frantic attitude of the 80s and getting back to basics, which is why there's so much freaking beige in interiors of the 90s. Well, mostly. There's also like the brighter side of things, but that was typically for younger people. And this was because it was basically fueled by the recession, and people scaled back and kind of toned down. And oftentimes, these interiors were more serene, more minimal, and a little more soothing in a way, more family oriented. French, quote, French blue, and also white kitchens were also popular, so that's why I chose to do an all-white kitchen. This year is supposed to be like a enclosed patio, so just pretend the glass is actually like a mesh, so it's all open, and those were increasingly popular in houses in the late 80s and early 90s, but also as alongside the whole white kitchen thing, dark wood kitchens were also popular, and hunter green, the color hunter green was popular as well for furniture, for wall paint, things like that. As far as architecture goes, not a lot really happened in the 90s, to be honest. Not that I can tell from my research. A lot of traditional homes, especially in the US, were popular, and most people who bought homes in the 80s still had those homes in the 90s, so it's not really exciting, to be honest. A lot of the houses that were constructed were very suburban, very traditional Americana or colonial type houses. There was kind of a fad to be very zen and minimal. Scandinavian design was very popular too in some instances, especially in California, and those things were more, I guess, appealing to the upper class and those people who had a lot of money. So I was thinking about doing a more Scandinavian inspired home, or maybe an apartment of some kind, just to kind of show that side of things. But I haven't really decided yet, so we'll see. But so I I really wanted to kind of sneak in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's theme song throughout my commentary, but I just didn't have time to do that. So that would have been a fun little Easter egg for you guys, and just know that I thought about doing that because I thought it'd be funny. I remember a lot of the shows, especially like the cartoons, Captain Planet, Muppet Babies, carried on over from the 80s into the 90s. So yeah, I have really fond memories of the 90s when I was growing up. I had a Tamagotchi, I had a CD player, and the kids who didn't grow up with that, you won't know the pain of trying to listen to music while on a road trip, because the dang thing would skip like all the time. Then you have to reset the song, try again. So you youngins won't know the pain of that. And let's see. Well, my first cell phone I didn't get until 2004 or 2005, something like that. I'm pretty sure. But I remember in 96 is when I started to play a lot of video games, especially on the N64, and I think the PlayStation as well. I had a neighbor that the only reason I was friends with them was to play with their PlayStation. I know it's terrible, but what are you gonna do? So yeah. So as you can tell, I'm putting plants freaking everywhere. That was a thing. I didn't really realize how much people were obsessed with plants until I was looking at pictures of the interiors of the 90s, and also just like sitcoms, like shows that you would see interiors. They're just sets or whatever, but they had so many plants everywhere. I was really surprised. I never really thought about it. But yeah, so like I said, this area is like an enclosed patio area, and I actually did move this lot to a smaller lot. And the reason why I even started this on the 50 by 50 is because I wasn't sure how much room I would actually need, but it fits on a 40 by 30, I believe. And I think that's what it is. And everything should be working fine. I tested everything. So yeah, it's on the gallery for you guys if you want to download it and take a walk through memory lane. Something else I noticed was the use of iron patio furniture. So it was kind of trendy to kind of have that French bistro look with your outdoor furniture. So that's kind of what I was going for with the patio table. This outdoor patio area is actually my favorite part of the house, I think. And also the landing area upstairs. It really brought back a lot of memories for me, because I remember sleeping over at my friend's house, and a lot of times they would have like a separate TV or like an informal living room upstairs where the landing area was. And I remember like sleeping over at my friend's house. We'd like stay up all night, and we'd be up there and playing video games, or just playing like a lot of people had ice hockey or not an ice, or what is it called? Air hockey. There it is. A lot of people had air hockey tables. So, well, if you were more on the wealthy side anyway. So, we'd sleep over, stay up all night, play air hockey. It was great. I went to this one birthday party, and they had it at this place where basically you could have these pretend instruments and you could make a music video with your friends. Like, they would record you and everything. You would be in front of a green screen, and you could choose what background and what song you wanted to do kind of like karaoke to. And they would record you, and then you could save the VHS tape after you were done. And that was like the whole birthday thing, which is probably one of my favorite birthdays I've ever gone to. We sang Superman. I forget who it was by. It was by Three Doors Down. That's what it was. And actually, Kryptonite, the Superman song, it was actually released in 2000, so I'm a little bit ahead of myself there. Not exactly in the 90s per se, but pretty close. But yeah, so let me think. In the 90s, I was obsessed with Barbies. I had every Barbie imaginable. I had like collected Barbies, like special edition ones I left in the box. And I think I still have quite a few of them, actually. But yeah, so I was obsessed with Barbies. In pink. My whole room was pink. I remember when I was 9. Yeah, I was 9. And we had just moved into this house, and the house had pink carpet, which I was excited about. So if you can imagine, like, pink carpet all throughout the house, and then my mom had a blue sectional. I'm not even kidding you. A blue sectional, pink carpet, and like a wooden entertainment center, kind of like the one I have there. And we had this like humongous record player, cassette player, and CD player, like all in one type of thing. And that was right next to the TV and entertainment center thing. But yeah, so I would sit there, I would listen to my dad's records and pop in some CDs every once in a while. One of my favorite things to do on, I think it was Windows 94 or 95, Windows 95, something like that. But one of my favorite things to do was to paint on paints. And I would make these abstract, like, line art things just for fun, and I'm pretty sure that's where my obsession for graphic arts came to be. At least that's my theory. So going back to the TV shows, one of my favorite shows was actually Home Improvement. I would see it with my dad a lot. He was actually in construction. He had his own business and all that, so Home Improvement was kind of like almost like, I don't know what you would call it, but he enjoyed it a lot because, of course, you know, he's kind of like Tim the Toolman Taylor or whatever, and so my dad really, really liked him or his character, so we'd watch it together. And another thing we would watch a lot is Star Trek when that was on. I think, was it Voyager? Maybe it was Voyager. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, so really good times as far as, you know, entertainment goes. So this bathroom is kind of like the guest bathroom, and it's also the bathroom you would enter if you were like swimming or whatever and you need to use the bathroom. You can just go in there without going to the house. I'm pretty sure that this type of setup was first kind of popular in the 80s, and it carried on over, which, I mean, makes a lot of sense because you don't want to track water all over the house, so it makes sense to me. So this is just the guest bathroom and the pool bathroom, I guess you'd call it. So this room here is a guest bedroom, But if you download it and you need another bedroom, you can totally use this one and it would be fine. So basically there's just, a bed, and there's a dresser and a closet. Moving on up to the upstairs. This room here is the master bedroom, and I remember in the early 90s and in the mid 90s, a lot of my family had these really clunky furniture sets that all matched, and they probably got them at Rooms To Go or something, or like consignment shops, or I don't know, but they were like super big. So I was trying to kind of lengthen the dressers using accent tables. So I think I achieved it pretty well, and I wanted the mirrors to look bigger than they actually were, so I put some together and some on the side. And TVs at this point were readily available to anyone, and a lot of times people like to have TVs in their bedrooms. I don't remember having a TV in my bedroom until I was older, and I never really watched TV all that much, like on my own. My best friend, who I met in 98, I was like 7 and she was I was 8 and she was like 6 or 7, but we're still really good friends. And she actually had to sleep with the TV on, which like was crazy to me because I would always want to watch it. So this is kind of neat. I noticed, and I also remember that sliding doors were really popular in the 90s, especially to get into the bathroom. So that's kind of what I was going for here. I was trying to make it look like this part of the bathroom kind of slid on the railing on the floor. So yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. And I put the little golden towel. I think it's supposed to be a towel hook or something, but it kind of looks like a knob to me. So yeah. So this area here is what I was talking about earlier. It's just like an entertainment or an informal living area in the landing space. So I wanted to have a TV and I wanted to have a gaming system reminiscent of the N64 or the PlayStation, whatever you want to pretend it is. But yeah, and I also am doing the thing I did in my 80s build where I put one of the standing lights inside of a accent table, and my mom actually had one of those, so I wanted to kind of have a nod to that. And of course we need to have the foosball table up here, which I'm saying it's air hockey because that's what most people had. I never really understood how to play foosball, to be honest, and I still don't really know how, but yeah. Home computers were also pretty readily available, so I added one up here in the more common area, and then there's one downstairs, I think, in the guest room. But yeah, I remember when I was younger, my parents had a computer in their room, and that's kind of where I played video games until we got into a bigger house and all that. So this is what I imagine like a teen guy's bedroom, and I was really inspired by the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and his Will's bedroom because he had graffiti and a bunch of stuff on his walls, and I think maybe he had like a green paint or something, I don't know, but I definitely wanted to have the graffiti and stuff all over the walls because I think that was very reminiscent of the time, really. And I thought about having this bright purple dresser, but I did away with that, and I made it like a dark brown or black or something, having its own desk here for homework. And I really liked how it all came together. I really love this house. It's very nostalgic to me, and I'm pretty excited to get more into like present day kind of. I mean, it's been great going through the decades, but I just want to get to present day. This city living desk is such a lifesaver. Like, we need more one tile things, you know what I mean? This little bedroom offshoot of the stairs, that is the little girl's room. I imagine that this is a family of 4, so a mom and a dad, a teenage son, and a kid daughter. And I really wanted it to be super girly, super pink everywhere to kind of match what I had as a kid. Shabby chic was really popular during this time, and so I had a lot of like frilly stuff and pink and Barbies everywhere. I wanted to add this dollhouse especially because I remember I was really jealous of a few of my friends. They had the Barbie dream house and I really wanted it. The only thing I had was like a travel Barbie house, and it looked kind of like a little case, and you just open up the sides, and that was her house. It was like a portable thing, which I was happy for, but you know, Barbie dream house, come on. But that's pretty much all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you next week. Next week is the late 90s, and yeah, thank you guys.